The lovable goofball who is Hercules from Marvel Comics is finally coming to the MCU. We already saw a quick glimpse of him during the mid-credits scene. Now the director of Thor: Love and Thunder talks about the character finally joining the MCU. So for those that aren't aware, Hercules in the comics essentially acts like Thor did in Thor: Love and Thunder. So it's going to be interesting to see what exactly they do with the character. But as most of you know, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while now, I've been waiting for Hercules for quite a long time. So I'm super excited to see what exactly they're going to do with the character. My guess is that he will be a comedic relief. I hope, because that's literally what the character does in majority of his comics. But who knows? Marvel Studios could change it up because that seems to have gone to Thor, so maybe they're going to make Hercules super serious, which, honestly, I wouldn't mind that as well, as long as it's handled well. Recently, though, Taika Waititi, the director of the film, sat down with Uproxx to talk a little bit about finally introducing that character. And they specifically bring up the actor who was hired for the role, aka Brett Goldstein. And Taika says that it was really Kevin Feige who wanted him. They went and asked him, and he agreed to do it. And that was that. So essentially, it was one of those things where it wasn't even in Taika's hands. It was just like, hey, we have an actor, we have a character, we need to make this happen, do it. And they did. And Taika says that when they decided to do it, it was all fun, everybody was excited, they were hoping that the crowd would react to it. And then he says just hearing the crowd cheer and get excited and go nuts for that character when he finally showed up made it worth it. So he's excited to see what happens with Herc next. On top of this, in another interview, he did reveal that essentially Hercules was something that they knew very early on that they were going to play around with, or at least mention him, because they already had Zeus, but they just didn't know what direction they were going to go in. And obviously, if you watch the film, Hercules is mentioned, but then it kind of leaves you hanging. So it could have still been a scenario where we get the mention, but we just never got the character. But it tells you, oh, he's out there, so just be aware. But luckily, we got him, so yeah, it's pretty great. I can't wait to see more Herc. I just hope he makes an impact and, you know, is handled kind of in a serious way, because he's got to go up against Thor. Hope they're not both going to end up being giant, like, comedic goofballs. We got to have somebody that's serious.